Brian is holding a balance gauge, and what he's doing is he's exerting a pull of 12.5 kilos on the lines and the handle and my model. I'm bracing the model around the bell crank area to try and protect it. Brian has to pull 5 times the weight of the model. It's 2.4 kilos, so that's around 12.5 kilos of pull that the model must withstand.
So Danny from England, he's second on. He uses a transmitter in his left hand and he uses a controller in his right hand. I'm not quite sure how he does that. That must be very difficult. He's ready to go.
The first manoeuvre is a taxi. I'll call start and then finish. You need to do about a quarter of a circle. And the idea is to taxi at a sort of a scale trundling speed.
And his model's electric, Chipmunk.
That's taxi complete. Right, taking off now with partial flap. Starting now. The idea is to accelerate smoothly, let the tail come up naturally, increase speed gradually, and then lift off very smoothly. The climb should be gentle and consistent. The height you're looking for is around the top of the hanger, and as you can see I'm a little bit low there. Just getting there now, but still a little low. And at the same time I'm raising the flaps. There we go, I was at the right height eventually and called complete. You now have to do 2 laps just to settle yourself for the judges to write the scores down. Now is the start of 5 laps of straight and level flight, and it should be about that height. And the idea is to keep it smooth, constant speed, and the height the same. But what you have got to remember is that although there's not a lot of wind, there is a breeze. So you're flying upwind, downwind, crosswind twice. And it's not as easy as it looks. This model's very light, and the slightest breath of wind and it goes up and down. It's quite a handful.
Flap demonstration called.
The next manoeuvre, I've done my 2 laps as well, is a flap demonstration. Flap demon, which I've started now, I should descend gradually with the flaps lowered and fly past the judge with the flaps lowered at about a height of 2 meters, nice and smoothly and steadily. The judges are also looking for a slightly nose-up attitude, which is what you would expect when the flaps are deployed and the aircraft is slowed down. Then you climb and raise the flaps and call finished. There then follows another 2 laps of what we call settling laps, which gives the judges time to write down the scores from the last manoeuvre. Before we call the next manoeuvre. I think the next manoeuvre is an overshoot, and this you have to drop the flaps, come down to a height of under 2 meters and then accelerate. And there you can see I'm accelerating back to height. Wasn't very stable. And there we are, complete, back up to height with the flaps sucked back up again. Now we're back into 2 laps, settling laps, for the judges to write the scores down. The next manoeuvre is a touch and go. And we're coming round, we've got the flaps down. Ideally you want to touch down just in front of the judges. You mustn't bounce, and you roll for about a quarter of a circle.
Touch and go that was, I believe.
Climb gently, raising the flaps until you get to that 6 metre height again, which is the top of the hangar. Not the top of the hangar, but the top of the blue section of the hangar. Well, middle of the blue section. It's above the doors. It's an area just above the doors itself, but below the roof. Next manoeuvre is an approach and landing.
Landing called.
Again, at height, we lower the flaps as we're reducing speed, and then we come down. A no bounce touchdown, preferably in front of the judges, but it's not supposedly critical. But as you can see, I've got it right. You roll on the mains, nice long roll, let the tail drop down, and then you come to a halt with the propeller still spinning. And call complete. And now you've got a second taxi demonstration. Now the way the scores or the way the rules have been written for this event are not quite right, and this is not how it should be, but because they hadn't got this right, we had to do a taxi demo at the beginning and a taxi demo at the end, and then it was combined to create your overall taxi demo score, which is one of the optional manoeuvres. Then we call finish.
Danny starting his second round. He's done the engine start and doing the taxi. Assisted by Brian Seymour, who's our team manager. Judges are here. Take off with partial flap called. I want it to come off the ground and not bounce. That's good. On the last flight, which is first flight, he had a loose engine mount. He had to fix that, and he's fixed that now. Straight level flight now. Five laps completed. flap demonstration called. We're going to be putting the flaps down, slowing down, and demonstrating the flaps. Just to remind everybody that we are at the Romanian World Championships 2024. It's also very hot here in Romania at the moment. It's about 34, 35 degrees today. So your motor's got to work harder and your ESC is going to be getting hot. He's doing overshoot, called overshoot, so he approaches the land and then doesn't land. Overshoots without touching the ground, which he did that successfully. Overshoot's complete.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. That looks like, that would in months it would be a thunderstorm on. Yeah, in 60 minutes or so. With all kinds of fire.
Next move is called touch and go. So you will be landing, roaring along and taking off again. Gotta go gentle, 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 that's it. And it takes off again, lovely, very nicely done. Touch and go is completed.
Yeah. Well, the stunt comes out first, then the scale.
Landing now.
Next move is landing. We want to try not to bounce it if we can. No bounce. That's what we're looking for. The bounce, unfortunately. A little bit too much power, but only just.
Landing complete.
Landing is completed.
Now.
Just has to taxi now. Just over 8 to the turn, taxi. Taxi is complete and that ends his flight. Okay, this is Friday the 16th now, and it's Danny Fenton's last control line flight for his competition. He's right at the top of the leader table. I think he's lying second at the moment. He has got his word cut out, and he'll have to put in a very good flight.
Yeah, if you run, you probably would use, if you're running series, you use the back horse. That's cool that his daughter's doing this. Oh, yeah.
Well, where's mom and dad?
Probably. Or
Oh, they're out there.
Or making their way back. They're not my responsibility at this point.
Well, she didn't know he was out there.
Taxi complete. Take off. Take them caution flaps now.
I had a baby bounce on the touch and go.
Take off complete.
I'll just roll on the way home. 'Cause I can't, if you can't do better than that. All right. There's that receptacle over there.
At this point,
All right.
well, no, actually, it was funny. I was. That happened.
5 laps straight level now.
I know you don't need backed up igniter. We done. He's next. Okay, last one. All right, 10 cars. He's the flight they all been looking for. The last two. Okay. Are you right out there? Yeah. Good call. That's why you're here, right?
You say that. I guess I can. What was told me? I just had, yes, I just had to do it. I did it.
He needed to add a little. He would keep that tip down. That tip one, you get there and that tip comes straight up. Make sure it's getting up. Pull back. Okay. How do you do? Good.
Everybody out there does great. Let's not surprise up a little bit.
Yep, I got you.
Overshoot now.
Give me the phone.
I don't think yeah, just in case
Yep.
I have to make an adjustment.
Well, I will put in good for you.
This was real nice. You know, everyone likes it.
There's better.
landing cord. I'm going to try this without bouncing. Land in front of the judges if you can. Don't think it bounced.
Taxi start now. Taxi complete. Engine shut down. Flight complete. Station.
Lillo.